Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. I'd really appreciate it, and I promise to update daily. If you love this watch, you could see it and you can purchase it on our website, thewatchbox.com. And today we're discussing a watch that's hard not to love. This is the Lange Sohne Datograph Perpetual reference 410032, 41 millimeters in rose gold. It's a variant that debuted back in 2010. Remember, the original Datograph Perpetual bowed back in 2006, so the watch is very much of a modern sensibility. Following 7 years on from the original Datograph in 39 millimeters, the Datograph Perpetual ups the ante to 41 in order to include a perpetual calendar and moon phase complication along with the flyback chronograph of the original Datograph. Now the watch is broad. On my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, you can see the 41 millimeter case wears full size, and across the wrist, 50.2 millimeters, it is broader than a standard Datograph. It's not terribly thick, and it doesn't add much thickness versus a Dato, however. And 14 millimeters with a domed bezel means this is still a fairly easy watch to wear underneath a cuff. The spacing between the lugs is a rather universal 20 millimeters, so the 20 millimeter size will give you plenty of factory and aftermarket options. I'm going to take the watch off the wrist real quick and show you the factory spec. As you can see, the factory strap is very substantial. Large rectangular scale alligator leather, a little bit of bolstering down the center, black with a monotone stitch, semi-gloss. There's a sheer cut edge that shows you the layers of construction, and there's calfskin on the underside. You can see this is a new Lange factory strap, so there's no gouging of the apertures, there's no gouging of the pinholes, and this is unexpected, as Lange watches typically, even in the upper reaches of their price points, do not include folding clasps. In general, they denote an apex model or a boutique upgrade, and this is a substantial piece, a lot of rose gold right here. It's heavy, it inspires confidence, it closes with a snap, and it's there to ensure you don't drop the watch while donning or removing at bedside. Also, as a sort of keel to a sailboat, if you like to wear your watch loose, it helps to have a very heavy clasp or bracelet underneath, and this certainly qualifies in that respect, doing a better job of anchoring the watch if buckled loose than would a pin buckle. Now you can see that the case is relatively simple. All of high polish. It features Lange's traditional stepped out lugs, which give the watch a little bit of a pocket watch air to it. It's got that round, almost pot-bellied form of an old Saxon pocket watch, and the stepped-out lugs give the case a visual strength. As you can see, they have their own little transitional bevels on the side. They're nicely tapered, they're elegant, and they're fairly short, so they help the watch to wear well on a smaller wrist. I'd say the smallest wrist you want to wear this watch is 14.5 centimeters circumference. Now let's get close to the dial and talk a little bit about some of the features. The dial itself is a solid piece of sterling silver. So it's a solid piece of sterling silver, and then all of the surfacing and calibrations, as well as the applique rose gold indices, the aperture rose gold for the double date, all of that's added secondarily. You can see alpha hands pinched at their center, but they are loomed, so this is a watch that you can see at night. It is a very versatile timepiece. Flyback chronograph complication, so you have the ability to reset and restart with the push of the trigger. The column wheel feel of a Datograph ranks among the finest in the industry, not just crisp, but truly refined. It's a combination of sharpness and smoothness. It's difficult to describe how the two can coexist. You kind of just have to experience it. By the way, note the fully jeweled lateral clutch. No bushings in there. Turning back to the dial side, I should mention that Lange is quite smart. They prevent you from accidentally actuating the date jumper. This would traditionally be the date jumper on a Dato, but there's a system whereby you have to pull out the crown in order to manipulate the date. And by the way, the date has a wonderful crispness of its own. Even the date pusher feels better than a column wheel chronograph from most brands. You can see how it's coordinated along with the day of the week. So this is a very smart system. You'll also appreciate the fact that it is a complete perpetual calendar. You have the day, the date, the month, the leap year cycle. You have a moon phase that is mechanically programmed out to 122 years, and Lange moon phase discs are made of solid gold. So you have a lot of precious metal on the face of this timepiece. Turn it all over, and you can see what propels the machine. A lot of folks wish they could wear this side up top. This is the Lange manufacturer caliber L9521, 45 joules, 5 position adjusted like a chronometer, a big slow balance beating away at 18,000 vibrations per hour. It is a gorgeous movement, and as you can see, it features traditional jewels set in chaton, as they would have been back in the pocket watch era. German silver, an alloy of nickel, copper, and zinc, is used for the bridges and the plates, which is why the watch has that golden tone about its case back. You will note that the watch does feature a stop seconds function and a free sprung balance with variable inertia nuts. The timepiece features a column wheel and a lateral clutch, and as you can see, the column wheel, let's go back to the front of the watch, the column wheel is beautifully black polished. Each of its crenellated towers has a black polished cap, and you can see that both the internal facing and the screw atop the column wheel are black polished. You can also see that the cover of the escape wheel is black polished, and the swan's neck fine adjustment mechanism is black polished. There's also a number of black polished screws to match those screws that are blued by firing them in a kiln to achieve that oxidized blue appearance. There is mirrored chamfering on the edge of every bridge, as well as all the levers of the chronograph mechanism, so you have immense hand finishing here. And finally, the pièce de résistance, you have, and I should find a way to say that in German, the freehand engraved half bridge for the balance. The freehand engraved half bridge is essentially an artisanal craft product in its own right, no two exactly alike, and because the designs tend to be distinctive of the artisans who create them, if you take the watch back to the factory, they can actually identify the name of the person who created that component in your watch. Beautifully executed. One of the cool things is you can see the chronograph lateral clutch moving away from and into contact, and then when you're ready to reset everything, you can see the hammers fall on the hard cam at center. That's why people prefer column wheel lateral clutch chronographs, because you can see everything. The watch keeps no secrets, right down to its engine turned base plate. This is as good as watchmaking gets. Cross the border, the German-Swiss border that is, with the Lange Sohne Datograph Perpetual. The Datograph Perpetual by night. I should have mentioned a few extra factoids. This 2.5 Hertz watch beats away, courtesy of an overcoil hairspring that helps to keep excellent time in any orientation with respect to gravity, and it beats away for 36 hours because that is the manual wind power reserve of the Datograph Perpetual.